Hey guys, my name's Nova, this is Film Express, and I know it's been a while since I've been here, but I'm back today talking to you about the new, extremely crazy, absolutely bonkers new body horror film, The Substance. Let's get right into it. You guys must have heard about this movie by now. The Substance has been making waves all over the internet. People have been saying it's one of the more disturbing and twisted films of the year. There have been people who've been walking out of the theaters. It's impossible to ignore the phenomenon that is this movie. So needless to say, I was very excited to check this out myself. I knew it was coming out on streaming very soon, but I had to go see it on the big screen because it's one of those films where the environment, the setting where you watch the film really plays a big factor, I think, in your immersion. Guys, I'll be fully honest, okay? I did find The Substance to be a little bit heavy-handed, okay? And it's a little bit of a product of typical 2020s overhype. But I still have to commend the movie for being one of the craziest movie theater experiences I've had in 2024. It's really rare these days to get original films that are, even the slightest bit entertaining and offering anything new in terms of visual experiences or sensory experiences. That's where it comes down to for The Substance. This is an audio-visual experience of the highest order. I'll be fully honest though, I was not as enamored with the film as everyone else. I did go into it kind of blind. I didn't know anything about the film. I was expecting a little bit better considering all the hype. There's still a lot to enjoy here. I think that most people will be less critical of the screenplay than I am, and that's totally fair. There was a lot of hype about the body horror and the gore and everything like that. And when it comes down to it, there's a lot of interesting prosthetic makeup use and interesting visuals. It does get pretty gross, 100%. But I'll be fully honest, guys, that first body horror scene, we'll call it the backbreaker scene, the introduction to Margaret Qualley's character, that was one of the more troublesome scenes for me because I think the CGI in that scene was really bad. There's a moment where it's a POV shot from Sue's point of view as she gets up in the bathroom and she wipes the mirror with her hand. It definitely looked like PS3 graphics. That for me was one of the harder scenes for me to get wrapped up in, and it's one of the more important scenes. So that's kind of rough. But you know what? I'll be fully honest, that was only one scene. The rest of the film didn't have any questionable CGI. The main thing is, even that transformation and how extreme the body horror does get, in my opinion, all this felt really familiar. It felt like bits and pieces of films that I have seen growing up, short stories that I've read. They always say the best artists kind of take and steal ideas from their inspirations and repackage them, in a modern setting. I'm fully okay with that. That's not the biggest problem here. It's that it was almost too much of it. I found myself recognizing scenes and moments from things like Goosebumps books or freaky stories from YTV from way back when. I can get wrapped up in how stimulating the film is. I can get wrapped up in how visual it is. I can get wrapped up in the incredible sound effects or Demi Moore's incredible performance. But at the end of the day, when it's all too familiar, it starts to become predictable. I didn't expect the film to get as extreme as it did by the end. But it was really much a case of there was really one direction the story could end up, and in my opinion, it took that direction. It took it in a very interesting and fun way, but it was still predictable. And to me, I'm starting to get tired of being able to predict stories. I want to be swept off my feet. I want to be kept on my toes. And unfortunately, The Substance didn't do that. And you know what? For something called The Substance, I was expecting a little bit more substance in terms of narrative and thematic depth. The commentary here on beauty standards, on men in the industry, was very shallow. I think the commentary on women's fear of aging and the fading star and the aging star is also very shallow. We obviously know aging is a big thing for actresses. We obviously know that men in the industry are despicable and how they treat women is despicable. Nothing here was really new, in my opinion. And ultimately, I feel like a lot of the stuff was just super in your face, loud. It was yelling its ideas at me. Coralie Fargeat, I think she's an incredible director. I think that even in her past film Revenge, she showed some incredible chops in terms of filmmaking skill, but her screenwriting, in my opinion, has a long way to go. In my opinion, she's very provocative with her screenwriting, but not for good effect. The thematic depth is really not there, and I can really much get the sense that she does not think highly of men. In both Revenge and The Substance, the men are portrayed as caricatures that are extremely despicable, extremely pathetic, and you know what, there's not really much nuance to how they're portrayed. I get it, it serves the themes of both Revenge and The Substance, but it's extremely juvenile. It's elementary style perspectives on how men are. I just want a little bit more depth there. I think if she ever works with another screenwriter, we could have a really big hit on our hands. Not to say The Substance isn't a hit, but it's clearly got a little bit of that divisive reaction as well. because people are saying that it's very shallow and very kind of in your face. And to me, like, something that is loud can never be good. You know, in my opinion, the more subtle you are and the more understanding you have of your audience's intelligence, I think that pays off narratively and thematically in incredible ways. And I don't think Fargeat is at that point yet where she trusts her audience's intelligence. There could have been so many great narrative opportunities here to show like a dichotomy in not only how men treat women in the entertainment industry, but also how women treat other women in the entertainment industry. It's not just men perpetuating these beauty standards. It definitely goes both ways. And I think that Coralie Fargeat kind of missed the mark on touching this thematic angle. And then ultimately, you know, to make her point, the third act just gets so ridiculous. It gets so bonkers. It gets so crazy. I started mentally checking out because it started to not match the tone of the film. And to me, all of that goofiness and that silliness just took away from my experience and took away from my enjoyment of the film. You know, people were laughing, sure, and I was chuckling as well because it's so ridiculous, but it's not effective in my opinion. And it's not a worthy satire. It almost doesn't even satirize anything. We get it. Like, it's not deep, it's not smart, it's not clever. In my opinion, they really missed the mark on that. In terms of performances, Demi Moore did a fantastic job, and it's so incredible to see her get a juicy role of this nature this late in her career. It's so fitting. It really worked for her, and she did an incredible job. She was the highlight of the film. Then there was Margaret Qualley. She was very solid as well. She's always been kind of reliable. And then there was Dennis Quaid, who, in my opinion, he was just such a missed opportunity, not only in his character, but also in his performance. So I feel like there was a little bit of inconsistency in character portrayals, and it wasn't really thought out well. It's the type of thing, it's like a narrative that lacks foresight, in my opinion. All of this critique is to say that the film could have had a better script. It could have had a better second half. But at the end of the day, it's still such a wild ride that I fail to really fault it too much. I'm always going to be more critical of scripts. Scripts are where it's at for me. If your narrative isn't strong, if your thematic points are not strong, if the moral of your story is not strong, you shouldn't be making the movie, in my opinion. There's still enough here to entertain most people, and most people are going to enjoy the substance way more than I did. I just wished for a little bit more substance. Now, with that being said, guys, that was my review of The Substance. Let me know what you guys think. I'm sure most people have seen the movie by now, so please let me know what you thought in the comments. Please like, please dislike, please subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. I'm going to be trying to get more reviews out for you guys. I've been traveling. I was just in Thailand for a couple weeks. It was an incredible trip, but now I'm kind of back and kind of ready to get back in the groove of things. So again, guys, my name's Nova, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya.